Now, the full documentary airs later this evening at 6:30 p.m. on this channel. Make sure to make a date with us. Now, joining us on Zoom is my colleague, Prince Apia, the producer of this documentary and one of the biggest soybean processors in Ghana, Vesta Oil Mills, and member of the leadership of the Soybean Value Chain Association, Mr. Kwesi Nyameche. Gentlemen, good morning and thanks very much. Now, Prince Apia, I'll start with you first. Now, why soybean and not any other crop?
So, if you can hear me, the reason is that we've realized for some time now that soybean and maize both constitute about 95% of the feed components. And so for soybean, it's something that was less talked about at the time I decided to do this particular investigations. Maize was being talked about and all the discussion was around these. And so I decided that I'll look into soybean and what exactly is happening within the value chain. But what really triggered that was when I visited one of the processors. I was initially doing a production for food chain. So when I visited the processor, he mentioned that at a point, he was not getting the needed raw materials for the factory, and so it was about shutting down. And that triggered my urge to investigate the issue proper and put together this production.
This looks to me a very sad development. What else in the story that will show tonight that we didn't see, so that someone must stay awake to say, I want to see this documentary tonight?
Yeah, basically, we are looking at the government initiative of planting for food and jobs. A lot of investment have gone into that. One of the main reasons is to empower the local industries to expand Ghana's agriculture production and, of course, secure our food security agenda properly. And so all this put together, we realized that in this particular documentary, one of the revelations is that most of these expanded farms and production that they're planting for food and jobs have brought about are going elsewhere and not to the intended purpose, which is the local industries to benefit from. So they need a demand, but they are not getting any supplies. And that is collapsing the poultry industry. We realize that now egg prices have gone up, feed prices have gone up, chicken, and now the importation is more, which is also stifling the local industry. And so these are some of the things we would want to tell our viewers and audience to expect from this particular documentary.
Thank you. Let me move on to Mr. Kwesi Nyame, who is also with us live here. Mr. Nyame, share with us the reality of the threat to this industry. Mr. Nyame.
Thank you very much. Hello?
Mr. Nyame, yes, the line is better now.
Thank you very much. Most of our businesses are collapsed. Some are collapsed already. You see, we all share the government's idea of industrialization and adding value to our raw materials. So we went into investing into equipment and machinery. And now the machines are idle. I mean, people are not working. Workers are laid off. I used to have 120 workers, and most of them are out. So that's the challenge to the industry as far as this situation is concerned. And because of that, poultry farmers are also having to buy their poultry at a higher cost.
Well, since government, Ministry of Agriculture, for example, says that we are doing enough in the planting for food and jobs, have you reached them with this development? What have they been telling you, as in what they want to do or are doing to solve this situation?
We have been in constant communication with the Ministry of Agri and Ministry of Trade. The two ministries are both aware of the situation going on now in the country. We even set a committee to regulate the exportation of soybean, for example, and other grains. And we managed to get an LI pass to regulate the exports. I think recently the Minister of Agri announced that grains and soya beans are restricted from exportation, which is a good idea. But the next day, I saw in the Business and Financial Times, permit has been given for 13.5 million worth of soya to be exported, which was a betrayal as far as I'm concerned. I didn't say that as fun at all, as if we have excess. That was the caption. That Ghana has exported excess soya beans out of the country, whilst industries are closed because of lack of raw material. That to me is a betrayal.
But what does the law say? Does the law give permission that some amount of it can be exported?
Yes, the law says local businesses, local industries should be looked at first, and then excess should be exported. And in this case, local businesses don't even have a grain a legume to process, and we are exporting. And not that we did not even have an interaction with those people who want to export. We went to have a discussion with them, and they mentioned the price. We were willing to buy at the price, so they exported it. Is it fair?
This looks more sad. The more I listen to your story, it paints a bleak picture of the industry.
Oh, yeah.
But have you then petitioned the Agri Ministry on it, because the law says that you only have to export excess? We are not even getting. Have you petitioned them that what you intended to do is not working out?
It is the ministry who prompted us that people have come for permit. Do we need some of the beans? And we said yes. And we went to have a meeting at the ministry with two of the groups. One having 10,000 metric tons, one claiming to have 10,000 metric tons, one claiming to have 5,000 metric tons. We asked for 5,000 to be sold to us. And we didn't get one. They've exported everything.
That's really, really sad. So what do you plan to do going forward? Finally, this is my final question to you. What do you plan to do?
What I'm planning to do is like somebody advised me, maybe find more money, which is not easy anyway, because if at the current price right now, if I need to have soya beans for like 3 months stock, I need in excess of 40 to 50 million Ghana cedis, which is not easy money. Okay, so these are some of the reasons why we're having discussions with the ministry and all the stakeholders and the banks to make sure. But as it stands now, if laws are passed, laws are not going to make to work and all that, then I think we are limited. But we'll try and see if we can have some discussion with some banks to agree maybe to use the grain as a collateral. We're talking about collateral management here. Or find money somewhere, and when the season begins, and the season is going to begin somewhere in October, when the season begins, then maybe we buy some and keep and see how we can manage. Because
all right.
As it is, the Indians are not going anywhere, they are here.
Mr. Yamiche, I'm grateful to you that you found time to join us. Prince, finally, what should people expect next? After this documentary, what is next?
Yeah, Bruce, so after this documentary, I think next week we'll play the second part of the documentary, which will focus on how these foreigners are operating and how they are getting the farm gates to buy the soya from the farmers, and that bit of it, and then how the soya processing factories are also losing out. That part will also come next week, and after that, we'll look at how we can also help with the engagement with the necessary authorities to get this issue under control.
Prince Appiah, grateful that you found time to join us, and thanks for that good work there. So that's my colleague at Love FM in Kumasi.